Hello, good morning. All right, so as we just wait another minute or so for anyone that wants to join, I'm just going to remind you that you would probably want to have a chair with you this morning for the practice. And actually, I forgot to mention, but you might want to have 2 yoga blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, then you can use a couple of books. So it's only optional. If you want and you have those available, you could go and get them now before we start, or I'm going to give some time once we begin again. And then just to let you know as well, I'm going to be recording the session, but it's only going to be a view on me. And then after the session, I'm going to stop the recording. And if anybody wants to chat or has any questions, then we can do that then. So I'm just going to mute everybody during the session. And then I'm going to put myself into speaker view. So I think that's okay. Hopefully you can see me. And then if others join in, that's great. And we'll just begin. So I'm just going to move back into my chair. So welcome. Really great to have you here again. As I mentioned, we're going to be using a chair for this practice. We're going to start sitting down. So if you don't already have a chair, you could go get a chair right now. And then the other thing I'd like to mention is if you happen to have a couple of yoga blocks, if you could get those. If you don't have yoga blocks, you could use just a couple of books. But if you don't have those, that's fine. You don't really need to utilize those as well. So welcome. Today we're going to focus a little bit on stability. And stability, once we find some stability, that can sometimes provide us more ease in our body, which is one good thing. And it can also provide us the opportunity to be more mobile in other parts of the body. So if we can find stability in our lower part, can we be a bit more easeful in the upper part of the body? And these classes that I offer are typically for people that have or live with persistent or chronic pain, but they might also be of benefit to anyone who just wants to maybe take a break, have a slow and gentle movement practice, calm their nervous system, notice their breath, those types of things. So hopefully you've had a chance to get a chair and some blocks or books. And I like to begin with a bit of a check-in. So when I'm teaching with a group class, we do this and there's opportunity to have some exchange and acknowledgement of what we do in the check-in. But in this case, that's not available to us. So we'll just do it kind of privately and I'll guide you through it. So sitting comfortably or wherever you are in this moment, you can just either soften your gaze or if it's comfortable, close your eyes. And then get a sense of, first of all, maybe your external environment. So you might be in a quiet room. You might be in a room with other people. There may be some noise around you. You might notice the temperature of the room. And then bring your awareness into your internal body. And notice what you feel there. So you might, first of all, notice your breath. But you also might notice some particular sensations. You might notice if there is some pain for you right at this moment. You might also notice some thoughts and emotions. And none of that is right or wrong. It's just interesting and hopefully helpful to notice these things. So you can open your eyes if you had them closed. And then whatever you notice for you, you might also use that to help guide you in that practice, in this practice. So if you had a bad sleep, I had some people from my usual class tell me that they, didn't sleep well last night, so they're not going to attend. But you could just be a little bit restful. You might decide to just lay on the floor and stay there. if you notice some pain, then keep that in mind. If you notice some shortness in your breath, maybe you can notice any change in that as we go along through the practice. And then the other thing I'll just quickly review is some movement guidelines, particularly if you have pain. So I want you first and foremost to ask yourself a couple of questions. First one being, do I feel safe? And will I be okay tomorrow? So that's really important. So in order to move and to calm our nervous system, we first and foremost have to feel safe. And then, will you be okay tomorrow? So sometimes we come into a class and we start doing things and follow the teacher, and then we realize that we maybe done a little bit too much. So if either of those questions, do I feel safe, will I be okay tomorrow, you don't feel safe, then maybe just begin by imagining the movement. And then I want you to monitor 3 things as we go throughout the practice. So first is monitoring your breath. Second is your muscle tension, and third is your pain. So throughout, if you can try to keep the breath calm, so your breath might feel calm right now, so just notice that, and can you try and maintain that throughout the practice? Keeping the muscle tension low, so you'll probably notice that when you're doing something, or if you're doing too much, you sometimes have to brace or grip. So can you maybe bring some awareness and notice that? And then bring some awareness to anywhere that you might have some pain. So we still need to move in the face of pain sometimes. So you can monitor the pain, but try not to focus only on the pain. So if you can keep those things in mind as we go throughout the practice, and I'll remind you as we go along. So first, starting in your chair. And as I said, if you have some yoga blocks, you might want to use them, or you might want to use some books. Now, I have long legs. So when I sit on a chair, my feet are fully on the ground and feel fully supported. But I would say for a lot of people, they sit down in a chair and their feet are not on the floor. So if that's the case for you, you could take your yoga blocks, or I've got some books here. Shout out to Shelley, Neil, and Marlissa's book, Yoga and Science and Pain Care. So if your feet don't touch the floor, maybe get yourself some blocks or some books and put your feet on the books for support. And just notice if that feels any different for you. And then we're just going to slightly start to move a little bit. So you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed, but we're just going to start to shift our weight a little bit, and then monitor your breath and monitor your muscle tension as you do so. So really just softly and gently, we're just going to kind of shift from side to side. So we've got our feet supported on the blocks, and then we also can feel perhaps the support of our sit bones. So those are the bones at the bottom of your pelvis, your ischial tuberosities, and they're providing support for your upper body. So can you shift from side to side? Feel those sit bones. You're probably going from one to the other. Notice your breath. And notice if you went quite far, you might start to hold your breath, or you might start to grip a little bit. And then go forward and back. So you're just kind of leaning forward, leaning back. Again, noticing any change to your breath, noticing how that feels for you. And then you might want to try to find center for you. So what might feel just right? So you could make some little circles. And then at some point, just kind of pause and notice where you might find stability and support from your feet, for your legs. And then can you find a place of ease using those sits bones to support your spine and your upper body? And then can you maybe soften somewhere? So, often if we don't feel supported, we kind of try to get some extra support up through the upper body here. So can you kind of soften in through the shoulders, maybe soften through the jaw. And then also bring some awareness to your head. So, notice where your head is in space. Is it sort of forward and back? And can you find a place where you feel really supported and really at ease? And I'm not saying this is the posture that you should maintain all the time, because I don't really believe that at all. But can you find a place of ease here? Often people in pain will try to maintain this rigid posture because they think it's really good for them, and it can be really fatiguing. So we're going to work with that a little bit. Okay, so we're just going to do these little hand curls like we did last week. Just again to notice some of the how our breath and muscle tension might change with our movement. So you can have your hands just resting on your knees, or you can have them up in the air, whichever you prefer. And on your inhale, bring the fingertips together and make a fist. And on your exhale, release and relax through the hands. And inhale, make a fist. Exhale, can you soften, let go? Inhale, and just notice from this simple movement, exhale, if you feel any change to your breath, if you feel any tension up here, just as we're doing this. And let your hands rest on your lap. Then we're going to begin moving through our spine a little bit. So again, ask yourself these same questions. Do I feel safe? Am I going to be okay tomorrow? And then monitor your breath, tension, and pain. So we're just going to slightly move through our spine. So take a breath in. And then on your exhale, I'm going to ask you just to kind of slouch. So you're kind of rounding through the back, maybe lowering the head a little bit. And then inhale, coming back up to center. I'm going to just turn to the side so you can kind of see that. So inhaling and then exhaling, we're just kind of rounding, and you might want to start with a very small movement. Inhale, come back up to neutral. And notice how that feels for you. A lot of people have issues with their back, so notice if that feels okay for you and your back. Coming up, and one more time, maybe exhaling, rounding through our spine. Inhale, coming back up. I'm going to move my books because I don't really need them. I want to feel my feet on the floor so they're comfortable. And then we're going to change that slightly. So this time we're going to arch our back a little bit on the inhale. So on our inhale, you think of maybe lifting through the chest, maybe lifting through the chin a little bit. Exhale, back to neutral. Inhale, lifting through the chest. Lift the chin, lift the head. Exhale, back to neutral. Inhale. Exhaling. One more time, inhale. Noticing how that is in your lower back, your upper back, your breath. Exhale. And then just pause. Again, feeling your feet. Feel the support of your pelvis below you, softening somewhere in your body. And then we're going to move the spine a little bit this way. So we're going to rotate our head a little bit. So again, ask yourself, is this okay for me to do? And on our inhale, we're just going to turn our head slightly to the right. And then exhale, come back to center. So depending on you, you might just move in a very small range to begin with. Exhale, back to center. Inhale to the right. Exhale to center. Inhale left. Exhale to center. And one more time, inhale right. Exhale to center. Inhale left. And back to center. Then we're going to just switch that up again. So it's the same movement, but we're going to change our breath. So we're going to inhale here at center, and then we're going to exhale to the right. Inhale back to center, and exhale to the left. Inhale to center, exhale to right. And keep moving as I'm talking. So one of the reasons that we do these kind of things is we want to create new patterns in our brain and our nervous system. One more time. So we want to kind of mix things up, change the patterns in which come easy to us, that we normally move, maybe do something a little differently, and then teach our brain that it's safe to do so. So you can just come back to center. And then we're just going to do a little bit of a side bend, and then we'll move into standing. So again, just notice your feet on the floor, sit bones supporting you. And then we're just going to bend over to one side. So I'm just going to, I always think I'm a little teapot song when I do this. So I kind of let the one shoulder drop, and then I can bring my hand to my waist on the other side. I might even want to feel my ribs, feel my breath as I'm leaning to one side. If I want a bigger stretch, I could take that arm up to my ear, maybe stretch it right overhead. So find what feels comfortable for you, where your breath is easeful, muscle tension low, you feel safe. We're just moving in a different plane here. Coming back up. So what do I mean by that? So I kind of mentioned last time, our life is very focused and our movements are always in the forward sagittal plane. So we need to get a little bit of movement in the other planes of movement, so twisting or side bending. So let's go to the other side. So let that shoulder drop. You can have the hand come up, depending on, you know, what's good for you here in your shoulder. Feel your breath. And that might feel a little different from one side to the other. I tend to have a little bit more tension, a little bit more tightness. So there's more sensation when I'm on this side. I can feel more sensation along this side of my body. And then coming back up. Great. Now we're going to come into standing. So I'm going to get rid of my chair, and I'm going to have to go adjust my screen just slightly, I think. See if that works. So we're going to do similar kind of movements while we're in standing. Again, thinking about that base of support. So to begin with, because we're going to be using our feet only, so last time we were using our sit bones on our feet for support. Now we've just got our feet there. So I want you to think about the 3 points of the feet that really provide the support that kind of are in between our arches. So I think about the ball of the foot, so underneath the big toe, the base of the pinky toe, and then the center of your heel. So as you're standing there, can you kind of bring your awareness to those 3 points of your feet? And for me, I tend to pronate. So that means I kind of put my weight, my ankles turn inward and my weight goes into my big toe. I can tell that because I have these calluses on my toes, but I can also see it. So I have a tendency to, my knees tend to fall in. And so you can see that I'm kind of like this in when I'm standing. And so if I can bring my awareness and put some weight into my pinky toes, then I have more of a straight line. So it kind of allows load and force to go through a straight path rather than going like this from gravity coming down. So bring some awareness there. And then we're just going to do these slight movements from side to side again. So begin going side to side. And you'll notice you end up putting more pressure on one foot and then the other. Notice if your breath changes at all as you just move from side to side. And then we're going to move forward and back. So for me, this is a little bit more precarious. So I have to really watch how far I go forward or go back because I feel like I'm falling. And then I can feel my breath change. I hold my breath, I grip through my body. So that's a message that, oh, I've gone too far. So I need to just move in smaller movements. And then can I find a place where I really feel at ease? So again, can I find a way to stand where I feel supported. So you might have this lightness almost in your body. And then think about the weight of your head as well. And again, it's not to say that we're going to be standing in a posture like this all of our life. But can you be easeful if you're in this place? And you notice how things move when you're challenged in other movements. And then let's just roll our shoulders a little bit. So we often have a lot of tension in here. So just kind of moving the shoulders. So bring the shoulder blades up maybe on the inhale. Bring the blades together in the back on the exhale and release. So shoulders up, blades together and release. And notice that I'm not kind of just doing this whole big arm movement. So can I keep my arms and my hands easy because they're not really required to do anything. And can I just use the muscles in my shoulders to do this? And then maybe you just want to bring some movement into this. So you might even just want to sway. So if you can bring one shoulder up, just to move a little bit. Great. And then let's just find that base of support again. So feel the 3 points of the foot. And then take the arms up perhaps a little bit, inhaling and down. And you might want to start really small. So maybe this is your inhale and your exhale, depending on what's going on with your shoulders, your neck. Maybe you like to bring them to shoulder height. Exhale down. Maybe for you, shoulders aren't an issue. And so you bring your arms all the way up and down. So you find where you feel safe, what's easeful for you. Can your breath be calm? One more time. Super. And then let's just shake it out. So, maybe you've got lots of energy. Maybe you need to move. Maybe my class is too slow for you. That's fine. Do what you need to do. All right. So we're going to start using our legs a little bit in this base of support. So feet and legs. So we're going to move into warrior one. So I want you to either take a step forward or back. So you're going to have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. And your back foot might be turned out slightly to the side. If that's uncomfortable in your lower back, you can have your foot facing forward. You might not need to use your chair or wall to keep your balance in that position. The other thing is, if you feel not quite balanced, you might want to take your foot wide, and then you've got a wider base of support so that you can feel sturdy there, feel stable. So find the right spot for you, and then think about those 3 points of the feet again. So ball of the foot, pinky toe, center of your heel. And really feel that in your front foot, feel that in your back foot. And then we're just going to bend into that front knee and coming back up. Bend into that front leg, bend the knee, coming back up, bending in, and coming back up. And then switch sides, switch feet. So the other foot forward. Take some time and really find what's comfortable and supportive for you. And then we're going to bend into that other knee and come back up. The other thing you might notice is this knee, or one of your knees, kind of falls in. So it's kind of like the whole pronation thing. So 2 of the things that you could do is, one, you could shorten your stance if you notice that, and see if then your knee is more straight up and down rather than turned in. The other thing you might want to try is, if it's turned in, just put your other hand beside your thigh and press the leg into the hand. So again, then it's just more straight up and down. Bend into that knee again and come back up. And then switch sides again. And we're going to bring the arms into the movement a little bit. So first, again, finding that support in your feet and your legs. And I always just really imagine kind of sinking in and letting my weight go into the floor. And then monitor your breath, monitor your muscle tension. And we're going to bend into that knee, maybe inhale, bring the arms up a little bit. Exhale, straighten out the leg. Inhale. To wherever's comfortable for you in your hands and your arms. Can you still breathe? Maybe stay here. Can you soften through the shoulders? Soften through your jaw. Feel the feet below supporting you. Coming back up. Switch sides. So again, finding some time to find your base of support here. Where do I feel stable? So I feel really stable here, and I have lots of ease and movement in my upper body because I know that I'm okay down below here. So bending into that other knee, inhaling, straightening the leg, arms down, inhaling, arms up to wherever's right for you. If you want to bring them up higher, then you can do that. Exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. Great. And then step the feet together, shake it out a little bit. So we got a couple minutes left. Going to move into tree pose. So it's kind of like that picture that I posted. You know, here's this big tree, but down below there's nice strong roots and it has a nice base of support. So can we find that for ourselves? And can we find it when we're shifting our weight and shifting the load to one leg? So for me, this is really important because almost more than anything, because we need to walk. And each time when we walk, we're shifting our weight from one leg or from two legs to one leg. And then we shift, and then we shift. And so we need to be able to transfer the load of our weight from two legs to one leg. And I always chuckle because you look at old people, and I think if you're old as I am, I think of Mr. Huygens and how he's kind of not lifting his feet anymore. And you'll see old people shuffling along because they're afraid or they don't have the strength or stability to be lifting up their feet anymore. So we really want to work on that. So tree pose can be really good for balance, but it can also be good for building strength. So I want you to think about whatever leg you're going to use. I'm going to use my right leg. And you can have a chair beside you or a wall to hold on to. And think about shifting your weight into that one leg. So feel the 3 points of the foot first. And then just pick up that other foot and notice how that feels. And is there enough strength to hold you there for a moment? If you want to work on the balance aspect, you can bring your palms together, bring your arms up high. But if you just want to work on the strength, just hold on to something. And then come out of that, shake it out. And then going to the other side. So the other thing that sometimes happens too is you notice people kind of go when they're walking. And why that is typically, so if I lift this leg up, sometimes my hip, you'll see this left hip kind of jut out to the side. That's because this set of muscles is having a hard time keeping the pelvis upright, so the pelvis tips. So I really want to think about keeping that leg strong and pushing into the floor. If I can, keep my pelvis level so it's not tilting. So let's give that a go. So I'm just going to shift my weight. So instead of going like this, I want to push strong into the ground, keep my pelvis level. And then can I stay here and balance or build strength? So what's your intention here? Is it to build strength? Is it to balance? And again, if you feel fully supported here, to me, if I want to work on this, you know, it's great to stand still, but I want to be able to move and have lots of ease and variability because that's how I live my life. I mean, we're not static. So can we, you know, something shifts and can we still maintain our balance and our strength? So that's about it for today. I hope that was useful to you a little bit. Next week, I'm thinking I might do some work with the feet. I had chronic pain in my feet for quite a number of years, diagnosed with chronic plantar fasciitis and osteoarthritis and blah, blah, blah. But I haven't had pain now for a couple of years, and there's a lot of things that I did to help that. And, you know, it's kind of like this walking thing. Our feet are really important, and we don't really pay them attention until we start to have pain. So if that's of interest to you, we might do that next week. If you have any other ideas, you could let me know as well. If we do the work with the feet, it would be good to have a ball. So if you have a tennis ball, yoga tune-up ball, a lacrosse ball, any kind of small ball, because we are going to do a little bit of work with that. So thanks for joining in. Take care. I'm going to stop the recording, so if anybody wants to say hello, has questions, wants to chat a little bit, you can do so. But otherwise, I'll post the recording probably a little bit later today, and then you can follow along whenever you want. Great. Take care.